This is the most terrifying sound that can ever be heard. It's the sound of loneliness, of isolation, of despair, of abandonment. Can you guess what it is? Well, if you guess the sound of old rusty bells ringing in the middle of the night, then you're absolutely right. Back in the 1800s, there was a mining town called Harmony, or what was left of it. Because today it stands as nothing but a hollowed out, decaying husk of its former self. For decades, the town was a thriving community of hard-working men and women, full of laughter and hope for a better tomorrow. But after the mines ran dry, so did the lifeblood of the town. Folks packed up and left, one by one, until the entire town became a ghost of its former self. Today, not a single soul remains in the town of Harmony, except for the wind that whistles through the empty windows and doors of the dilapidated houses and the sound of those bells. Every single night at exactly 12 Aoudlen, the rusted bells in the tower of the town's church would begin to chime, echoing throughout the silent streets, bouncing off the walls of the abandoned homes like frightened animals. And though no one lived here anymore, the haunting melody could still be heard from miles away. People would stop what they were doing, prick up their ears, and listen intently. To their horror, they couldn't help but be drawn to the sound. Their feet began to move before they even had time to think about it. And soon they were walking towards the sound with no memory of how they got there. The last thing they remembered was standing somewhere else, yet now here they were walking slowly and steadily towards the sound of the bells. As they drew closer to the town, the bells chimed louder and louder, drowning out all other sounds. The trees lining the path to the town seemed to reach out to them, desperate to grab hold of them and drag them back from where they came. But they couldn't stop now. They had to see this through. What was it about those bells that made them irresistible? Why did they have to keep walking forward? This wasn't their town, nor did they know anyone who lived there. Yet something was calling out to them, whispering to them in a language they understood deep in their bones. There were dozens of people who tried to ignore the call of the bells, who tried to run away from the sound and hide from it. But inevitably, they were pulled back like iron filings to a magnet. No matter how fast they walked, how far they ran, or how hard they tried to make themselves stop listening, they were helpless to resist. The bells possessed a supernatural power over them, but once they entered the town, the terror really began. They found themselves inexplicably drawn to the church. As they stepped into the town square, the bells fell silent and an unnatural fog rolled in, enveloping the buildings, swallowing the trees, blurring the world into an indistinguishable mess. The trees swayed eerily in the non-existent wind. The houses seemed to lean closer together as if gossiping in hushed tones. The shadows grew longer and deeper, stretching out like grasping claws. The moonlight hid behind the clouds, leaving the town in darkness. The air grew cold and damp, carrying with it the scent of decay and death. The silence was deafening, and then suddenly, the bells began to chime again, louder than before, more insistent. Panic seized them. They needed to get out of there, to escape before it was too late. But as they turned to go, they realized that they couldn't remember how they'd gotten there. The path they'd walked along was gone. The road they'd driven down had vanished. All they saw around them was the thick, swirling fog and the dark, looming buildings. They were trapped. Then the melody changed. A low, mournful tone replaced the merry jingle. Each note seemed to pierce their souls, pulling at their hearts, dragging down their spirits. They tried to break free of the spell, to fight against the unseen force that held them there. They screamed and shouted, but their voices were lost in the mist, swallowed by the shadows. They stumbled through the fog, desperate to find a way out. But it was no use. The bells had claimed them. They were now part of the town, another lost soul trapped forever in the clutches of the ancient tower. Some say that when the bells chimed once, it meant that your time was drawing near. When the bells chimed twice, it meant that your end was nigh. And when the bells chimed thrice, it meant that you had already passed beyond the veil of the living and were now bound to the town forever. Those who heard the bells and didn't heed the warning found themselves wandering the streets of Harmony for eternity, doomed to relive their final moments over and over again. The living became the dead, and the dead became the living dead. Legend has it that the only way to escape the fate that befell those who heard the bells was to find the source of the music and destroy it. So many brave souls risked everything to venture into the misty town and put an end to the torment once and for all. But none ever returned to tell the tale. Some say they simply couldn't bear to hear the sorrowful chime any longer and willingly gave themselves over to the bells. Others say they tried to smash the bells into pieces, but the hammers kept ringing of their own accord. And still others say they never even made it into the church at all, lost forever in the fog. Now, whenever the melancholy notes of the bells echo through the valley, a chill wind blows across the moors, carrying with it the scent of decay and death. And those who hear it can't help but shiver, for they know that it's a warning, a harbinger of doom, a knell for the living and the dead alike. To this day, no one dares venture into the town of Harmony after dark, for fear of becoming another lost soul trapped in the embrace of the eternal bells. And even those who live far away from Harmony keep their windows shut and their ears open, just in case the mournful chime carries on the wind. For who knows, maybe they'll be next. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more creepy content. You can also check out more of my content here. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.